just when I thought this kid, Hunter Avallone, couldn't get any worse, he goes and does this.
Are you still a police officer? Because you seem really bad at handling crisis. I think you'd be probably shot me dead at this point.
I'm talking little boys right now, bro. You're not a crisis.
Yeah, says the guy that's been using a childish argument the entire time. That let's just start telling people not to do things that are bad, guys.
And we are back. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you're all having an amazing day. We got a lot to unpack here. I got a bunch of video clips to show you guys, so let me try to break it down. And before I jump into it, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you want to show some support, hit the subscribe button down below. Become part of the greatest community on the YouTubes. Leave me a thumbs up if you like the video and let me know in the comments what you guys think. You guys know my favorite part of this community, this channel, doing these videos is the comments. So let me know what you guys think. All right, let's dive right into this. Hunter Avallone. The first time, I didn't know much about this kid. I never really heard of him until he was on the Timcast IRL podcast with Tim Pool about 4 or 5 months ago. Kind of got the idea of he was on the right. He was a right winger. I went to the left. He, I don't know. He says he's a centrist. I don't know. Anyway, on the Tim Pool podcast, he made a complete and utter fool of himself. I made a video about it a while back. Complete fool of himself. He clearly showed that he has no idea what he's talking about. Check this out.
After their PR company reached out to the State Department saying, why are you investigating? Stop this now. Joe Biden goes out there and says, if you don't fire the prosecutor, you ain't getting the $1 billion.
No,
quid pro quo.
I cannot. I'm sorry. I can't.
Those are facts.
I can't stand by while this is.
Those are facts.
No.
What do you contest?
This is complete misinformation.
No, it isn't.
Did you watch the video?
Donald, first of all, Hunter Biden did not.
So he just told Tim Pool and company that they were spreading misinformation. He's about to get schooled.
Not earn 1.5.
I didn't say
million?
he did.
Was it 1.5?
I didn't say he did.
1.5 billion.
I didn't say he earned any money.
Did you not just say?
I said he was flown on Air Force 2 by Joe Biden to negotiate a $1 billion private equity deal in China. That's a fact.
Now I read about that, and that's definitely not a good look for Hunter Biden. 100%.
Why was Joe Biden using government property to fly his son for private deals in China?
I don't
Whether
know.
they got the deal or not.
It was probably corrupt. It was probably corrupt.
I'd say it was.
I think there's corruption. Again, there's corruption on both sides here. But if I'm forced to choose between Donald
What's
Trump...
the misinformation?
Well, the misinformation here, I was referring to there's a lot of misinformation about the 1.5 million, but I know you didn't bring that up. 1.5 billion, which that was only like a goal. They were trying to make 1.5 billion in capital.
Attempted murder, still a crime.
And then you said that they
got a $5 million forgivable interest-free loan.
That I actually haven't heard about. But Joe Biden did not get that special prosecutor fired.
You're wrong. You're so wrong.
No, I'm not.
You are so out of your depth, bro.
No,
Did you see the video of him talking about
Joe,
it?
It's my understanding that this prosecutor was fired for doing a poor job, and that
you were wrong.
Can we
name the prosecutor?
I don't know.
Exactly. Victor Shokin.
Can we find out? Can we fact
play
check
the video?
Sure. Well, we're not going to play the video of Joe Biden saying, but I'll break it down for you because Matt Taibbi is not a conservative. The UK froze the assets of Mykola Zlochevsky. He's the guy who founded Burisma.
Just be patient. I just have to play this clip. It's so beautiful watching Hunter get schooled. This smug little, and you're going to enjoy it even more after I show you what I'm going to show you after this. This smug little snobby kid. It's beautiful watching him get schooled by Tim Pool.
So you don't have any idea what you're talking about right now. Okay. Zlochevsky was under criminal investigation. Mm-hmm. When Joe Biden intervened, there were at least a dozen investigations into him and this company. Hunter Biden was put on the board for seemingly no reason, probably to garner influence. When asked about it, Hunter Biden was asked, if you weren't Joe Biden's son, would you have gotten this job? He says, probably not. So even his acknowledgement, that's why they brought him on. Right. We also have the emails where when he's doing this Chinese negotiations, they talk about the big guy, and that was confirmed by Tony Bobulinski. I digress. Victor Shokin was the prosecutor who signed a sworn affidavit in court in Ukraine that said he was investigating active investigations. And Joe Biden intervened and put pressure on him. And he had a meeting with the president after the president was told, we're not going to get the $1 billion. And he said to him, you are being fired. And that was it. So when you have the PR company, and these emails are publicly released, you should probably read them, where they're saying, why are we being investigated? The vice president's son is on the board. And then what was it, like a couple months later, Joe Biden flies out there and gets the prosecutor fired. Here's the best part. If you're saying the prosecutor was doing a bad job, my question is, how come the new prosecutor who came in cleared Burisma of all cleared Zlochevsky of all wrongdoing, allowing him to return to Ukraine after he was under criminal investigation? And it's only after Donald Trump got in and started pressing things, he fled to Monaco. So if you don't know any of this stuff, you can't just come on and say it's misinformation, because I've done so much reporting on this.
I just want to know more about whether Joe Biden actually played a role in getting the prosecutor fired.
Oh, okay. Let's play the video.
I don't want to see the video. I want to actually see an article about it.
Do you want to hear?
Okay, Tim Pool says, let's see the video. Oh, I don't want to see a video. I want to read an article about it. So he doesn't want to see a video coming straight from the horse's mouth. He wants to see an article about it.
Joe Biden say I got him fired because they wanted $1 billion and I held it over their head?
He literally did say it.
Do you think it's odd that Hunter Biden was getting paid tens of thousands of dollars in a position?
And listen to this. He says he didn't think Hunter Biden was getting paid to be on Burisma's board. I'm a dummy. I'm a complete moron, and I knew that he was getting paid.
That everyone knew he shouldn't be in. He never had any experience.
The Burisma,
yeah.
The board position?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? I thought that he took an unpaid job with that.
No, he got paid tens of thousands of dollars, and
listen,
he profited.
And here's
the
thing: is kind of like what I've already been saying is, I recognize that there's corruption on both sides. It was to my understanding that Joe Biden didn't play a role in getting that prosecutor fired. But if I'm wrong,
let's play the video.
All right, let's listen to the video.
I said I'm not going.
All right, so we're not going to watch the video. You can always go back on Timcast IRL to watch that episode. Okay, so some of you might be wondering who's Hunter Avallone. You may never heard of him. I've never heard of him before I saw him on Tim Pool, and I couldn't believe that Tim would actually have somebody like this on. Somebody clearly doesn't know what they're talking about. Clearly just spitting out these left-wing talking points. I literally knew more than this kid when I was watching it. I knew more than like the answers he was giving it. And I'm a dummy. Like, I'm a complete moron, and I knew more than this kid. And he's got a channel on the YouTubes with almost 600,000 subscribers. So what I found out was he used to be on the left. He used to be on the right. He went to the left. He's good buddies with VAUSH now. Him and VAUSH became pretty tight, and didn't really look much into him since then. Now, I recently saw this. So I don't know if you guys are aware, Elijah Schaefer, who is a reporter, journalist, he's covered a lot of the riots and protests throughout last summer. He's got a channel on the YouTubes called Slightly Offensive. It's got a pretty good following, almost 400,000 subscribers. Unfortunately, he's been fully demonetized on most of his platforms. They're trying to silence Elijah. I think he's great. I think his channel's so funny. And he hosts these debates every once in a while. He'll get 3 or 4 people on there from different political backgrounds and, different races. And, he's had transgender people on there before debating, with people, conservatives. He puts together some great debates. So he put a debate together with none other than VAUSH, Hunter Avallone, who I said they became pretty tight these days since Hunter went over to the left. Hunter's one of VAUSH's little cheerleaders, and Brandon Tatum, who, if you don't know, the Officer Tatum, he's got a YouTube channel on the YouTubes with over 1 million subscribers. Great channel. Got a lot of respect for Brandon Tatum. He's a black conservative, former police officer. A lot of life experience he brings to the table. So he's a good guy to listen to. And then Red Eagle, who is another conservative populist, I guess you'd call him. This guy, Red Eagle, I'd never heard of him before. He did pretty good in that debate. I really enjoyed him. I'm going to subscribe to his channel. So I saw this. I said, okay, well, this looks like a pretty interesting cast of characters. So I decided to watch it. And I'll tell you what, that video clip of Hunter Avallone in the Timcast IRL, that was nothing. That made him look dumb. It made him look like he had no idea what he was talking about. He looked foolish. This debate, not only does he look foolish and dumb, he looks like a complete, arrogant, stuck-up, snobby piece of horse shit. And the comments, people were saying, oh my God, Hunter Avallone's making VAUSH look like a solid dude. Like, Hunter's making VAUSH look like a gentleman. This kid. this kid, I've never seen so many bad comments about one person. Every comment, thousands and thousands of comments, just all ragging on Hunter. And well-deserved. And I'm going to show you the clips to prove it. Now, VAUSH, listen, I don't like VAUSH at all. There's a few reasons. First of all, I don't understand. Like, I'm not a big conservative, right-winger, Republican or anything. I just try to use common sense, logic, and so I guess that tends to lean more right, I guess. VAUSH, he's socialist, he likes communism, calls his buddies comrades, Marxism, he's all about, I don't know about Marxism, but he's all about that socialist, all that. And I don't understand any of that. I don't know why these people want to change our country to that. He's also said some things about, I can't say this on YouTube's, with children and bad CP, children in movie. It's horrible. He's also said how he thinks possession of that shouldn't be a crime or something like that. I have a clip of it on my Twitter page where he says it, and it's absolutely vile and disgusting. He tries to make excuses of why he said it, but there's no excuse for that. Now, another thing that with VAUSH is that it just doesn't make any sense. Like, people like this, they have these talking points that they stick with. So the final thing about VAUSH, why I can't stand this guy, is because he called Kyle Rittenhouse white supreme. I gotta watch what I say on YouTube. They demonetizing all my video. Like, I don't understand why, but I load a video up, it's demonetized for no reason anyway. So I gotta watch what I say. Listen, I'm gonna try to build my own platform down the road a little ways where we're gonna be able to say what we want. So he called Kyle Rittenhouse a white supreme, and Kyle Rittenhouse acted in self-defense as he was being pursued by rioters. Kyle Rittenhouse, the 3 people that engaged with him that he had to pull the trigger on, they were all white. Like, that doesn't make any sense how he could be a racist and a white... Yeah, like, that doesn't make any sense. There's no evidence to back it up. But you go watch VAUSH's videos and he says, oh, Kyle Rittenhouse is a racist and a white this and that. And I can't get down with the way these guys think. I think it's complete nonsense, and it's pretty sad and pathetic if you ask me. So Hunter Avallone, let's get back to the story at hand here. So they were on Slightly Offensive with Elijah Schaefer. I highly recommend going to subscribe to that channel. Great channel. And Hunter was so disrespectful to Tatum. Now, Tatum came on there with life experience. He's a black guy. He grew up in the hood. His family members are in prison for selling drugs. Family members were in gangs. Like, he was around this. He was in that lifestyle. And then I think he played high school football. I don't know about maybe college football. I don't know. Then went on to be a police officer. So he was a black person in the hood. And then he went on to be a black police officer. So he can speak from experience on all these things. Hunter Avallone was so rude to him and dismissed any life experience that Brandon Tatum talked about. And I agreed with everything Brandon Tatum said in these clips. Tatum said there's no personal responsibility. There's no personal responsibility for these people, resisting arrest or taking drugs or committing these crimes. And all VAUSH and Hunter were saying this whole time, the whole debate, oh, it's systemic problems, systemic racism, systemic issues. They're talking about problems from back 40, 50, 60 years ago. They're not addressing the same problems that Brandon Tatum is addressing, which are problems that need to be addressed now, not going back 50 years and trying to fix something. That doesn't make any sense. Brandon's talking about the things we can do now in the black neighborhoods to help them out. And it's systemic, it's from back in this. It's complete nonsense. Let me play you guys some clips to show you what I'm talking about. Let's start off with this one here.
In general, what are your thoughts on the police, and do you feel like the policing system is racist?
I don't think that policing is racist at all. I think policing is probably the least racist.
This is actually just Brandon's kind of introduction here.
Organization probably in our system. I think they get a bad rap. I think political pundits have an agenda to push, and so they push only the narratives that they want to see put forward. If you look at the numbers, white people get killed more than black people do by police. White people get shot more unarmed than black people do by police. You know, we hear about George Floyd, but we never hear about Tony Tempa, who died in a very similar way as George Floyd. He didn't get a funeral, he don't have a T-shirt, and he didn't make the news. So in doing this for a living, I mean, I'm not just talking, I'm not a pundit. I've experienced it on a day-to-day basis. Most police officers want to go home to their families. Most police officers could give a care less what color of your skin. Anybody can have a gun, anybody can kill you, and everybody commits crimes. So that's just my take on it as a former police officer.
Bang, bang, nailed it. He just nailed it. He just nailed it. Now, of course, there are some police officers out there that are bad. Of course, there's some police officers out there that are probably racist. Of course. But what he just said, all in all, most officers just want to go home to their family. Most officers don't care the color of your skin. A white guy could have a gun. A black guy could have a gun. A Hispanic guy could have a gun. That police officers don't look at that. And this, who better to speak about it than a former police officer? You know, I mean, come on, let's get real. All right, let's go to this next clip and see what genius stuff Hunter Avallon's going to spew out now.
That you would say this institution is the least racist institution is just laughable. Like, those are such bold claims that are just triumphed by so many different data points. I'd like to point out this one. This was an analysis on LAPD searches. Brown people were searched more, even though white people had contraband at higher rates. White and brown police officers also closely mirrored the racial LA population. So even though the police force was made up of racially diverse people, the system was still delivering racist results. So I reject your application of identity politics there to begin with. And then, yeah, for you to say that there is no racist outcomes or anything from police system just isn't backed up. That's literally one analysis of the LAPD. I'd be happy to send you maybe 10 or 15 more in multiple different states as well if you're interested.
Damn. I'm going to give you Brandon a chance to respond to that before we go to Jack.
Good. Awesome. So I wasn't playing identity politics. People are saying that black people are disproportionately affected. I'm a black person in America and I have experiences. So how would you know how black people are being affected?
Because I don't care what your experiences are. That's your problem right there,
Mike. Well, let me finish speaking, please.
Okay. Wow. Did you hear how rude and disrespectful, snotty little, I don't care about your experiences. That's your problem. All right. I got a ton of clips here that I could play you guys that they're just, personally, it's just infuriating. I think Brandon Tatum's a great guy. I think he's doing some great things with his platform. I think he's making big changes in the black community and just in general. And to see this smug little punk kid grifter talk to him like this is infuriating. All right, so let's check out another clip, see what this punk has to say.
Like I said, crime follows poverty. So since we see black people disproportionately in poverty, we see disproportionate amounts of gang violence and other kinds of criminality. We also have the war on drugs, which was another policy that was disproportionately negatively affecting black people, regardless of intent, but that intent was for racist reasons. So yeah, I think that it's really just, it's an overwhelming thing that people don't like to talk about. It's a lot easier to just point fingers and say, oh, black people stop committing crime, or oh, this, oh, that. But what it really comes down to is addressing the poverty gap that is there because of racist reasons, and that will reduce crime. And again, that's not even getting into the actual systemic issues within our police force also. But I don't want to talk for too long, so yeah. I'll go ahead.
Well, you're not going to address poverty by just throwing money at the problem. If you look at some of the most... That's not what I said. Okay, well, I'm just saying in general, if you did mention, I mean, earlier we talked about reparations a little bit. But in terms of redlining, I mean, the Irish people were redlined, Croatians were redlined, Jewish people were redlined, Armenians were redlined, but they still didn't exactly see the same negative...
It wasn't just redlining. It wasn't just
well, exactly, but you said it was
again subjected to a lot of very unique circumstances.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, let's look at it like this. I think, you know, you have statistical data that you can look at. Obviously, that's not the totality of what's going on. You have to look at actual happenings that go on, people that live in the community, their experiences. When you talk about redlining and stuff like that, yeah, some of those have a somewhat of a factor. But I think people are giving too much weight to racist policy and redlining. We need to stop trying to find these excuses and look at it on an individual level, and that's how you fix things. You say, why are young brothers
make policies or address system?
Listen. listen, why are young brothers out here selling drugs, right? Do you know of anybody that sell drugs? Ask anybody on this panel. Do you know of any
white
black
people are
person
more
that
likely
drugs?
to sell
No, I'm
drugs.
talking about a black person that sells drugs.
Statistically, right?
Do you know a black person that sells drugs?
Sure.
No.
No, Hunter Avallone shockingly says no. Hunter Avallone has no experience to speak on anything. I don't even... Listen, this is going to be a longer video than I'd hoped. I'm sorry, but I got some really good clips that I just want to play here. And trust me, it's worth it seeing these clips just to see what a good guy Brandon Tatum is and what a piece of garbage Hunter Avallone is. I'm really surprised Brandon Tatum took this debate because I've seen him in his live streams before speaking on people like VAUSH, like, I don't know, who's the other guy? Xander Hall. He's another little cheerleader of VAUSH. And then Hunter Avallone. Brandon Tatum feels it's a complete waste of time to try to debate these guys because there's no common sense and logic in their debate. They just throw a bunch of stats out there, say the whole system's systemically racist, and they dismiss Brandon Tatum's life experiences coming from the hood, growing up in the hood, being around drugs and gangs, becoming a police officer, being in that environment. They think none of that has anything to do with anything. Listen, I've said in some of my past videos, I'm a recovering drug addict. I was a drug addict for decades. Now, when I sit down to speak to a counselor or somebody at a rehab or anybody, when I'm trying to get help, I would rather sit down with a recovering drug addict who knows the experiences that I've went through instead of someone that just has a plaque on their wall saying they paid a bunch of money to go to this college and get this degree, saying that they're qualified to give me help. No. I would rather speak to someone with life experiences. Hunter and VAUSH just keep mostly Hunter. VAUSH was actually pretty decent, pretty decent in this, but Hunter just keeps dismissing everything B. Tatum says. It's frustrating. Okay, I think this next clip's pretty good. So I'm not gonna play all the clips that I had set up, but I think this next one is they're all pretty important to listen to, but it'll take way too long. So let's see what this has to say.
Of evidence which points to the idea that the problems the black community experiences is downstream of systemic discrimination.
Nobody. You could say, you could use your statistical data or whatnot. I grew up. I'm just telling you, this is important too. I grew up black my whole life, and I've been around black people. Nobody's talking about the stuff that you're talking about.
You're invoking identity politics. Nobody, and also that's irrelevant. You go interview. I really like what VAUSH had to say there.
They're not going to talk to you about redlining. They're not going to.
See, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. I really like what VAUSH had to say there. Listen, I had some clips that I didn't put on here, but he's like, hey, VAUSH, okay, I like what VAUSH, hey, VAUSH. Like I said, a little VAUSH cheerleader. Ugh.
Talking about racism.
So what?
They're going to talk to you about opportunity.
Really quick. Again, that's because individuals don't tend to look at things in a systemic manner, which is why you don't go to the street and ask individuals what kind of policies they would want to fix their neighborhoods. That's a policy thing. It takes a lot of time and work.
So you're saying that everybody's the same. What I'm telling you.
No, wait, Brandon, please wait, hold on. I need to make a point here. Okay. Looking beyond individual anecdotes.
All right, I don't want to listen to that nonsense anymore. Just listening to Hunter. That's irrelevant. And nobody cares. All right, let's check this clip out with Hunter back in his systemic problems and dismisses everything Tatum has to say. Same as he's been doing the whole time.
Would agree then with addressing systemic racism.
Because
if you're able to acknowledge that there's systems in place. I'm not
disagreeing that there's obstacles. Nobody is saying that. But what I'm saying is we're putting too much weight on some of these obstacles, right? We put too much weight on talking about the police. When I was growing up, man, the police it's one police officer per every 1,000 people. Police, general population of black people don't experience being exposed to police. It's just not happening. They're exposed to peer-to-peer violence.
This is exactly why we don't appeal to anecdotes, because that's, again,
look at the numbers. There's one police officer for every 1,000 people. And there's 40 million black people. Just do the numbers. There's not a lot of police officers that are out there patrolling in general.
What I would really prefer to do here is pull away a little bit from these personal anecdotes that you keep alluding to.
I mean, you got to talk about reality. You can't just
this is reality. This is reality. This is how we make policy decisions.
Most black people poor? Are most black people poor?
No, but black people are disproportionately.
No. It's most black people poor. Majority of the black people are in the middle class. They're not poor. So most black people are not dealing with the same issues of over-policing,
disproportionately
criminality.
Or on average, certainly.
Yeah, because in this,
hey guys, I'm gonna cut.
All right, This is frustrating. Okay, listen, guys, this has been dragging on. I got one more clip I want to play, and then I will end it. It was a lot longer than I would hoped, and I really want to play a lot more, but I think you guys get the picture.
Just want to address that. My solution would be to invest in some of those areas, try and help them get out.
All right, this clip, he's another super disrespectful thing he says to B. Tatum.
Even rioting, for example, is a result of civil unrest, which is a result of police killing black people, which is a result of the income gap, which is a result of racist policies of the past. It's not that complicated. I know it might be for you, Brandon, since you have I don't know, like
Martin Luther King didn't do
way
this.
of thinking of things here.
Martin Luther King didn't do this.
A child way of thinking of things, he says. Hunter Avallone, the dumbest, most immature idiot that I shouldn't be calling him names. I don't like doing that. Okay, last two clips, I promise, then we'll wrap it up. This one's important just because, just like in the Tim Pool video that I showed you guys in the beginning, this shows you how uninformed. This is so frustrating. So this guy is speaking out. Red Eagle is talking about the George Floyd case, and they're debating whether or not the amount of fentanyl in his system makes a difference, whether he OD'd or didn't OD. And of course, VAUSH is saying, no, that's not what's on trial. Brandon Tatum saying, yes, it is on trial. They're trying to determine whether he OD'd or not. Listen to what Hunter Avallone's. Now, it's been proven crystal clear that he had lethal amounts of fentanyl in his system. Floyd, he had 3 times the amount of lethal fentanyl. I think it was something, several times the amount of what could have killed him originally. And listen, like I said, I used to be a drug addict. I've overdosed once on heroin and twice on fentanyl. Had to get Narcan and brought back to life before. Trust me, it wasn't a lot, and I had a tolerance. It doesn't take a lot of fentanyl to drop someone in there, drop someone where they stand. So listen to what Hunter Avallone says. This guy's ridiculous.
This topic.
You know how much fentanyl is in his blood.
That's not how our legal system works.
Did you hear that? They know how much fentanyl was in his blood, and it was not at lethal levels. I'll play it one more time. Just listen to how sadly misinformed this kid is.
Expert witnesses that have said the opposite. So I think we'll have to wait and see what the jury exactly has to say on this topic.
You know how much fentanyl is in his blood.
That's not how our legal.
Thank you.
All right, listen, last clip, and then we're going to wrap it up right here. Okay, last clip here, guys, and then we'll wrap it up. But this just shows you how Hunter Avallone is just on such another level of disrespect. It's crazy.
We ain't dealing with the same thing
please,
from the 60s.
Can I finish, please? Because I don't
support... This not the 60s. We're not fighting civil rights movement. That's passed. Civil Rights Act was passed.
We're still having
the Civil Rights Act was passed. There's no.
I would like to finish my point here.
Brandon, let's let Hunter finish his thought.
I just think that it's very clear that you're misinterpreting MLK to support your own dumb conservative agenda. When at the end of the day, MLK made it crystal clear that the way that you fix rioting is by addressing the underlying systemic issues that lead to the.
What a punk!
Unrest that lead to rioting.
He didn't riot. He didn't riot.
There were riots.
I didn't say he rioted.
All right, guys.
First of all, he didn't riot. Second of all, a common talking point of people who were against civil rights back then was actually that MLK was super violent and he was always destroying cities.
No, he didn't.
You sound very similar, man. Good job.
All right, so guys, I don't.
I bet B. Tatum's wishing he could reach through that Zoom call right now and muckle right onto him. All right, guys. For those of you guys that made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I'm going to put a link to that debate in the description box. So if you want to go check it out, Elijah Schaefer, Slightly Offensive, great channel. Check out B. Tatum. If you want to check out VAUSH and Hunter Avallone, can't stand either one of them. But, and honestly, Hunter Avallone made VAUSH look like a pretty decent dude in this debate. Never thought I'd say that. Thank you guys for joining me. Listen, the world's gone crazy. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Till next time. Peace.